Dickinson's ancestors were traced to Puritan settlers who left Lincolnshire in late 17th century to practice religious freedom in America. Emily Dickinson was born to Edward and Emily in Amherst, Massachusetts on December 10th, 1830. And there's beautiful little Emily. Emily Dickinson had an older brother, Austin, and a younger sister, Lavinia. And they were the only three children of Edward and Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson's father was strict and keen to bring up the kids properly. And he also said Walt Whitman was considered too inappropriate.
No reading.
Emily said his heart was pure and terrible.
Pure and terrible.
Emily Dickinson's home was called the Mansion or the Homestead, and it was used for meeting places.
Soldier boy on the head. Break the warrior. Superman. This is my
Emily Dickinson mostly was outside around nature because nature gave her good ideas for her poems and her creativity. Emily Dickinson never married, but she had relationships with guys. She was engaged to Reverend George Gould, but sadly,
no.
her father disapproved of that poor college student. Emily Dickinson also had relationships with Judge Otis Lord, who was a widower and a friend of her father's.
No.
He proposed, but she declined, saying, "Don't you know that you are happiest while I withhold and not confer?" In 1864, Emily had a doctor's visit for an eye condition.
Emily Dickinson. Thank you.
Good morning to you.
Hello.
What about this letter?
I think that is an A,
And this one?
a B,
And this one?
a H,
How about this one?
I,
Can you read this one?
L,
How about this one again?
A,
And this one?
C,
And this one?
F,
What about this one?
H.
Okay. Here you go, madam.
Thank you.
But the doctor gave her bad news. She was forbidden to read and write. Emily Dickinson wrote around 1,800 poems. She's considered one of America's greatest poets, and she wasn't recognized as a famous poet until the 20th century. And only about a dozen of her poems were actually published. Dickinson's bedroom was overlooking the cemetery where she saw many ceremonies. I'm not stopping! Okay, I am, never mind. That'll be a good blooper! This is what we're doing in our downtime while waiting for the next prop to be ready. Rachel is the modern Emily Dickinson rocking out on Guitar Hero, which we're not even playing the game. And there's Abby, who's been pretty much most of the guys with Rosa, and She's singing and they're both retards. Emily Dickinson's home was called the homestead or a mansion, and it was used for meeting places. And he'll put the ring on her finger.
No! I am not a boy!
What is this? What is